Hello everyone, my name is Irini Kabitsis, and today I will be discussing Greece and its Easter and Lenten traditions. Why Greece? I'm a first generation Greek American, and that is why I chose this country. And I have very strong ties with the country, the culture, and its people. Religion is very tied into the country's history, therefore, many religious holidays are public holidays. Some examples of those being Tsigno also known as Fat Thursday, Holy Monday, and the Feast of the Virgin Mary, which is on August 15th. Another fun fact is that 81 to 90% of people living in Greece are actually Greek Orthodox. Here's a map of Greece, and as you can see, it has a vast mainland and more than 1,000 islands. Only 200 to 300 of these islands are actually inhabited by people, and it is also surrounded by countries such as Albania, North Macedonia, Bulgaria, and Turkey. The major historical events that have affected modern Greece's cuisine include Ottoman Empire rule, the Greco-Turkish War, and the Asia Minor catastrophe, and World War II. The Ottoman Empire ruled over Greece for about 400 years, in which many foods were brought over and adopted by Greeks, such as baklava and kadaifi, which will be shown in the next few slides. After World War I, Greeks lost the Greco-Turkish War, which ended up causing a traumatic population switch of Greeks living in Asia Minor and Turks living in Greece. Along with the population switch, many foods and spices were brought over, however, they were not accepted at first. Much of this cuisine is known as politiki cuisina, which is also known as the cuisine of Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul. Then for World War II and the Great Famine. In World War II, Nazi occupation caused a famine in Greece in which hundreds of thousands of people died of starvation. Germans would loot supermarkets, take crops from farmers, leaving people who lived in cities to starve. This influenced post-war Greeks to cherish food and would teach their children to clean their plates in case a catastrophe as such happens again. These are some examples of foods that were brought over from Anatolia by refugees of the Asia Minor catastrophe, one of these being imam baldi up on the left, and on the right is gyulpasi. So imam baldi is a eggplant-based dish, and gyulpasi is made of lamb. And these over here are Turkish-inspired and adopted desserts. Up on the left, we have baklava, which is very well known throughout the Balkans and the Middle East. Then we have ekmek and kadaifi. Nearly 3/4 of Greece is covered by mountains and hills, as you can see here in the map, the green area being very mountainous areas and the lighter areas being more flatland areas. Western Greece is mostly mountainous, it's not very fertile, and back in the day it was filled with many shepherds and goats. And whereas Eastern Greece is more suitable for farming, there are many peninsulas and islands in Greece, so this made it very suitable for fishing and trading. Regarding the climate, summers were very hot and dry and winters were very wet and windy. So this made it a little bit difficult with the climate and the geography of Greece to know what crops were able to be grown in these areas. However, the foods that were able to be grown were wheat, barley, grapes, olives, corn, sugar beets, and peaches. Another fun fact is that Greece is the only country in the EU that actually grows cotton. And the types of animals that are typically found on Greek farms are sheep, cattle, and goats. Greek Orthodox Easter starts 40 days before Easter on Clean Monday, or Kathari Deftera. Typical foods that are eaten on this public holiday include lagana, which is a sesame flatbread shown on the top right, shellfish, legumes, and vegetables. Typical foods and beverages that are to be abstained from during the Lenten period include meat, eggs, dairy, fish, and alcohol. So, a strict vegan diet. Olive oil and wine are permitted only on the weekends and in small amounts. The types of foods that are allowed are fruits, legumes, vegetables, grains, and shellfish. There are different types of fasting during the Great Lent, and these include strict ascetic fasting, standard parish fasting, intermediate fasting, and basic fasting. So ascetic fasting is where people eat a strict vegan diet and refrain from eating a full meal until afternoon, Mondays through Fridays. And during Holy Week, they only eat small meals for their health, and they always make sure to never get too full. The standard parish fasting, they too refrain from eating a full meal until afternoon, Mondays through Fridays. And they abstain from all meat throughout the Lenten period and abstain from eggs and dairy when possible, or at least during Holy Week and Wednesdays and Fridays every week of the Lenten period. Intermediate fasting can also be interchanged with intermittent fasting, where people typically eat less food than normal due to the time period of this diet. But with this intermediate fasting, no eggs or dairy on Clean Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays throughout the Lenten period. And people typically abstain from a whole meat group, and they fast as strictly as possible during Holy Week. And then basic fasting is when people eat less food Mondays through Fridays during Holy Week, and they give up one type of mammal meat and one type of dairy group items, such as cheese, ice cream, something. And of course, they eat a vegan diet on Clean Monday or Καθαρή Δευτέρα, Wednesdays and Fridays. And of course, they fast as strictly as possible during Holy Week. Next, we will be talking about Holy Week traditions. Fasting is done as strictly as possible this week, and especially from Thursday to Saturday. On Holy Thursday, Easter preparations begin, people dyeing their eggs red. They begin making tsureki, which is a Easter bread, and on Holy Friday, many devout people do not cook. However, if they do, it is typically simple meals that are boiled and do not require much effort. The fast is broken after Saturday evening Mass at midnight, and many people after this Mass eat magirica, which is the soup that is pictured on the left. This soup is made of offal, which is typically liver and other internal organs, shredded lettuce, dill, scallions, and an egg lemon sauce, and it is very tasty. And now lastly onto my favorite holiday in the Greek Orthodox religion. So it is one of the biggest holidays in the religion, and people make sure to celebrate with the ones they love. So this includes family, extended family, and friends. And there is a huge feast because the 40-day Lenten period, and people go all out. Some traditional foods and drinks that are typically eaten on Easter include a whole roasted lamb, which is pictured right over here on the bottom right corner. So the roasted lamb actually represents the Lamb of God, so the whole thing is eaten. This includes organs and even the head. The head can sometimes even be made into a soup, which many people do not like, but everyone has their tastes. Up next, we have kokoretsi, which is actually right behind the lamb in the bottom corner. And this is basically just lamb and goat intestines that are wrapped up and put on a spit and roasted. Not my personal favorite, but some people really like it. It's a very strong flavor. And the red dyed eggs, these are used for tsukrisma. So the red dyed eggs are up at the top, and there's a legend that Mary Magdalene actually went to Jesus' tomb, and she went there with eggs. And when she did not find Jesus' body there, the eggs instantly turned red, signifying that he had risen. And typically what people do is with these boiled eggs, they smash them, and then they see whoever's egg has not come out with any cracks. They typically get good luck for the next year. And then there's also tsureki, which is a Greek Easter bread. It's a sweetened yeast bread, and it signifies resurrection, rebirth, and everything, and it is very common in Greek households to have during this time. And of course, wine and spirits are flowing freely throughout the celebration because it has not been allowed for 40 days and people want to celebrate this holiday. So spirits, typical Greek spirits, include ouzo, raki, and other things such as sipuro. Well, thank you so much. These over here are my citations. And I really appreciate you watching my presentation. Thank you so much.